Greetings, my dear friends. Thank you so much for allowing me this moment with you. You don't have to, but I appreciate the opportunity. Let's get into it. When I was about 13 years old, my church youth group was scheduled to take a trip up to the Maryland, D.C. area. This was during the summer months when all of us kids were out of school. We were going to attend an annual youth retreat with the church that we associated with. Now, each parent was responsible for paying a certain amount of money by a particular deadline so that their child was able to go on this trip. Unfortunately, my family was not able to come up with the money in time, and I was excluded from this roster of attendees. However, I was never really one to take no for an answer. Right up until the day my church group departed, I was still trying to figure out a way to go on this trip. Even though I was not able to come up with all the money, I still showed up at the pickup site to see if church officials would allow me to go anyway. Of course, the answer was no. As my cousins and church friends loaded the church van, they all bid me farewell. However, my response to them was a bit strange. I simply said, "I'll see you there." Of course, they looked at me very strange as they continued to load the church van. I watched that van pull out of the parking lot, and they were off without me. Feeling a bit defeated, I returned home with my mom and I went to bed. The next morning, I got up pretty early. I was on a mission. You see, in my juvenile mind, I thought to myself, well, if I was not allowed to get on that bus, I'll take another bus, a Greyhound bus. So I called the Greyhound bus station and I found out that a ticket to Maryland was about $100. Now, at the time, I was working in a small barbershop sweeping up hair clippings for a little bit of pocket money each week. But before I went to work that day, I developed a compelling story to share with the customers at the barbershop in hopes that they would donate a small amount of money to a young boy who just wanted to go to church. By the end of that day, I had raised all $100. I went home and I showed my mom what I had done and convinced her that I'd be fine riding a Greyhound bus to Maryland. Hesitantly, she agreed, and later that evening, she took me up to the Greyhound bus station, and I was on my way to Maryland. Now, we had some family in Maryland that attended this same church, so my mom and I called ahead and asked if they would be willing to pick me up from the bus station the next morning and take me over to the church. They were happy to oblige, and by the next morning, I was standing at the front door of that church. I walked in and ran right into my cousins and church friends. They all greeted me with open arms and asked, "Troy, how did you get here?" I simply told them, "I told you I was coming." If I could encourage your heart today, I'd tell you, go after it. Whatever you know God called you to do, you go after it with everything you have. I once heard someone say that being comes through doing. Don't worry about all the naysayers and the doubters around you. Doubters should motivate you, not offend you. Like the woman with the issue of blood, you push through the crowd. You see, she wasn't too concerned with how hard it would be to get to Jesus. 12 years of suffering made her desperate enough to push through any and everything to get to her destiny. Are you desperate for Him? Are you just desperate enough to push through the crowd and the naysayers and the doubters and all the noise to get to your destiny? I know I am. Like the woman with the issue of blood, you push through the crowd. Like me as a 13-year-old boy, you find a way to buy your bus ticket. Your destiny is too important not to, and it's waiting for you. Listen, I love you. There's not a thing in the world that you can do about it. Remember this, on this life's journey, it's not ultimately about how you start. It's how you finish. Until we meet again. Bye now. Listen, if you liked this video and would like to see more of this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that bell so you're notified anytime I post. Like and share this here on Facebook and anywhere else you feel that it'd be beneficial to someone. I love you, and there's not a thing in the world you can do about it.